This is the Kingdom of Candessa. For many years we have lived as a peaceful community, but that wasn't always the case. The kingdom was comprised of enchanted forests, castles, and portals to other lands and more. Magic thrived in Candessa. The most powerful magical items were objects that were held by the realm's most famous heroes. Everything was great. That is until the villains retaliated against their stories. The villains stole the kingdom's most powerful objects and used them to commit evil deeds. It wasn't until all the princes and princesses of the land came together to lock them up for good that the objects were restored to their rightful place. It was decreed that this type of magic was no longer to be used or held in the hands of fairy tale characters. Only one man could possess them. His name is the Keeper. No one has heard from him. That is, until today.
My name is Emerald Fern, and I'm here to take you, the Kingdom of Candessa, on an in-depth look into the life of the Keeper and the most powerful objects in the multi-universe world. It was announced just hours before this interview that the Keeper is searching for an apprentice, so I got an inside scoop with him. Let's check it out.
Oh, hello, you're early. Please, have a seat, have a seat.
It has been an honor to meet you, Mr. Keeper. I've heard so many tales and stories about you.
You shouldn't believe everything you hear, dearie.
I'll take your word for it. So tell us a little about yourself. Why just now are you deciding to announce your search for an apprentice?
Well, I've been looking after these objects for years. It takes a toll on a man, you know. I need someone fresh. Someone new who can appreciate the objects fully and contain their energy as best as possible. It's a full-time job, but it's one with many rewards.
I see. How did you become the Keeper?
That is a fact I can never reveal. I learned that from the last Keeper, and my apprentice shall learn it from me.
So shall we look at the objects?
Oh, of course. Isn't that why you came in here in the first place? Not to visit me or anything. For the good stuff, let's get started. Now this here, don't touch it! This here is the glass slipper that Cinderella wore to the infamous Winter Solstice Ball.
No way!
Yes! I've had it for many years and it has changed quite often. I like the glass look.
Changed?
Magical items never stay the same, you see. Cinderella's tale has multiple versions. As time goes on and her story evolves, the object reflects each alteration. Powerful sorcerers, named the authors, dictate the course that each object takes. That's the secret to their power. Each alteration regenerates the power of the object because the story keeps being told. Cinderella's story will never be finished because she will always lose this slipper. It's fascinating. However, since these objects have been collected, all the stories have come to a halt in time.
So how is the slipper changed?
I'm glad you asked. It all started with the original sorcerer, Giambattista Bastille. Now, Bastille was the first person to create the fairy tale. He was inspired by Italian culture, and this slipper here represents purity, beauty, and grace.
I must run from the king. Oh, magical fairy, please give me the strength to get home.
Stop, please! It's a slipper. I'll search every inch of this land to find my maiden. The slipper is chosen. It is you. Josvella, will you marry me?
Yes.
So originally, the shoe was just an ordinary slipper, nothing special about it. It wasn't until the great sorcerer, Perrault, came about and changed it.
Wait for me to come back. I will find that maiden and make her my wife.
Dreams really do come true.
Mother's tree only allowed me to stay at the ball until midnight. He's a very smart prince. He's a prince who prepares. Knowing this time I'd run from him. He spread pitch on the stairs. I'm caught unawares. On the steps of the palace.
Wait, maiden, stop. I spread pitch on the stairs, yet she still escapes me. I must find her. Agony!
Thank you for
for taking time out of your busy schedules to see me.
No problem at all.
It was no problem. How do I look?
Ugly.
So, what was it like, the fitting of the slipper?
The cutting of the foot.
We thought if we cut our feet, then the prince would love us.
But no luck. The blood gave us away and he chose little
Annoying
Cinderella.
Well, thank you for seeing me.
It was no problem at all.
No problem.
You're ugly.
Ah!
Cinderella, thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule to see me. So, what has it been like now for your life, now that magic has been at a halt?
Oh, it's been very empowering, Emerald. I'm free to live my life on my own now, and I love getting to go to the ball every night of my life. But there's so much more out there, you know? My story is now getting told in so many different lights. Girls are starting to see me as a role model and a feminist character that they can look up to. It's not about the shoe anymore. In certain versions, I'm a strong-headed girl who defies the stepmother and everyone's expectations. It's very empowering. I even go by Ella now.
That's fabulous. And now what about charming?
Well, did someone say charming? Well, now all I really do is sit there and look pretty for Cinderella, but there is some difficulty to it. I am the most handsome and charming man in all the kingdom, and it does come with perks, but I'm okay with that.
Thank you for seeing me.
What is the next object we'll look at?
Ah, yes. This is highly toxic. But get ready. A poison apple. Not just any poison apple, the poison apple. It represents a loss of innocence. And where does this object begin? But with no other than the original man himself.
Basile.
You've been listening.
What's your name? Lisa? Look, maybe your name's cute. Get on the ground. You're mine now.
So you see, the apple wasn't an apple at all. Originally, it was enchanted comb that put Snow White to rest. In other stories, sorcerers had the poisoned object be a basket of sweet meats. No matter the tale, though, the evil queen was always...
Evil, vain, evil?
You get the picture. She was ruthless. She even devoured a liver and a heart in belief that they were Snow White's. It wasn't until the Brothers Grimm that the apple came about, and you know them. They are notorious for their brutality.
My prince will come. Someday my prince will come and the birds will sing. My darling, I have something for you. Would you like this corset? Why, of course. Oh. Oh. And I have this for you, my dear. Oh.
Oh, hey, Snow! Snow? Snow! Snow.
Oh. Thank you, Dopey.
It's no problem.
Look, my dear. I have a gift for you. Oh, it's an apple. It's so sweet. Why don't you take a bite?
And the apple is as poisonous as ever.
What's that over there?
Oh, yes, this is a tragic story. One that sometimes I can't even retell because its magic is one of the purest that I have ever tried to contain. It's sea foam. It is not just sea foam, though. It is a girl.
No.
Yes, her name is Ariel. She has quite the tragic life, but in some versions, she's not quite sea foam at all. This object, or being, is what we call a split realm object. She has two different timelines.
Ariel was told that she was to kill the prince or she would be turned to sea foam.
I'm Christian Andersen. What an author.
And with that, she just became Seafoam?
Indeed, it's okay, because Walt Disney saved her in another timeline and is still alive to this very day. In another realm, of course, she marries the prince and lives happily ever after. True love. The most powerful magic we have.
What's that behind you? It looks a little different than the other objects in here.
You have a keen eye, dearie. This is a cloak. It's as red as blood.
Is that?
Little Red Riding Hood's cape? Indeed it is. This is a fun enchanted object, for you see, Little Red has always worn this cape. This cape has not physically changed, but its magical properties have changed as the story has evolved. For example, in some tales, Little Red is the wolf herself. Thus, the cloak turns into an item that prevents her transformation.
Little Red is a wolf?
Exactly. Who would have imagined it? That wasn't always the case with her, though.
Why, you're not my grandmother. You're the wolf.
Well, yeah, but I just made a sandwich with some pork I found in the fridge. You can have some if you want.
Oh boy, yes! Ew, gross!
It's wonderful, isn't it? Another tale from the Great Perrault features the Little Red Tail as we know it.
Come, Little Red. Come give old Granny some love.
Okay. Hi, what big eyes you have.
The better to see you with, my dear.
And what big ears you have.
Oh, the better to hear you with, my dear.
And what big teeth you have.
The better to eat you with.
The Grimm brothers added in the huntsman, who would save Little Red and her grandmother from the big bad wolf, and so on. The cape has always protected her. In earlier versions, it represents virginity, and the removal of the cape is symbolic of the loss of innocence. Did you know currently Little Red and the wolf are married?
I knew the minute I looked into his big eyes that we'd be married.
Once I spat out her grandma. It was love at first sight.
We even have a baby. I wrap her in the cloak I wore the very day we met.
We couldn't be happier.
Thank you!
Well, we are nearing the end of my collection. You wouldn't be interested in the rest now, would you?
Oh, of course I am!
All right. Come a little closer.
Okay.
A little closer.
Okay.
And look into my hand.
It's just a breadcrumb.
Not just any breadcrumbs. These were the breadcrumbs that were used to track Hansel and Gretel's every step in the forest the night they came upon the gingerbread house. They symbolize childhood naivete.
Are we almost there yet?
Yes, we are, so stop asking.
But I'm tired.
What are you doing?
I'm marking our trail with breadcrumbs so we don't get lost.
Hansel, I think we found something.
No, we haven't. Why did Dad take us to this stupid forest anyway? Gretel, but...
It's a house made of sugar.
I want it!
So the gingerbread's never changed. It's always been Isles of Candy.
Not exactly. There is the Antoinette Bond version, a not-as-known sorcerer, but one of the first woman sorcerers. She decided Hansel and Gretel were to be abandoned by their parents. Instead of a house of gingerbread, they are taken to a red house, owned by the devil himself. That seems to be it. Look at my wrist. You should be going. Thank you for the interview. It truly was a pleasure. Wow. And,
Oh, what's that?
nothing.
It's not nothing. It's something. Tell me. Please, 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 please.
Very well indeed. Don't ask me. Not even I can tell you the history of the spinning wheel. Its magic is so powerful that I even have a hard time containing it. I hide it in the deepest part of my collection, so I never have to deal with that much dark magic.
Oh, hello, dearie.
I'm sorry we couldn't take off your handcuffs.
It's quite all right. I did curse a baby into pricking its finger after all.
About that, could you tell me about the spinning wheel?
My spinning wheel. How I miss it. In the early days, there was no spinning wheel. There was no me. Just a young girl named Talia and a thorn. Talia happened upon the thorn and pricked herself, falling into a deep sleep. A prince soon happened upon her. He was so marveled by her beauty that he raped her. She birthed twins in her sleep.
That's very different than the Aurora I know. The Aurora that's in the tabloids anyway.
Little Aurora wasn't always so great. Anyway, back to me. Paula was the first to utilize myself, the dark fairy, mistress of evil, and have my spinning wheel prick the princess's finger. Ever since then, it was my spinning wheel and my curse that lured the princess, Briar Rose, to her sleep. In Disney's version, the kingdom even throws out every spinning wheel. My spinning wheel puts the entire kingdom into a deep, deep sleep. Oh, how I miss those days.
Thank you, Maleficent, for letting us in on the spinning wheel's origins. I should go.
Anytime, dearie. Anytime.
So many artifacts in just one man. I can see why you think it's time to find an apprentice.
It is time, you know. I'm glad I could share with you my collection. I enjoy talking about the artifacts. In a way, they have become one with myself.
You're welcome. Last question. If you have any advice for your future apprentice, what would that be?
Dream. Welcome the magic and do the best you can on containing it. Observe the stories, record them, take care of the objects, and they will take care of you. I'm looking forward to working with you, whoever you may be.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Good luck to the future apprentice. The next keeper could be very well watching this documentary. Thank you for tuning in, and good night.